Hey, my name is Ralph and I'm with Flexfilm. And right now I want to do this video because I want to clear up something that's epidemic in this industry. It's called protection versus comfort. There's a lot of confusion about protection and comfort when it comes to window film technologies. Most people don't understand that some window films can only give you protection, but only a few of them can give you comfort. And I want to show you which ones can give you both and which ones can only give you one. Okay, so here's how we're going to start this off. I want to start off with something everybody just understands, and I wish we could make everybody understand this in our window film industry, but let's pretend like you go into the drugstore and you get some sunscreen, okay? Everybody knows that there's a number on the bottle, and that number, you don't really have to know this, but it stands for solar protection factor. What you do need to know is that every time somebody reads that number, they know which one is going to work better than the other. Let's just say the first brand has a 15, okay, and then the one beside it has a 60 or an 80. Everybody knows that the higher we go up in these numbers, the more this sunscreen is going to protect our body, from energy that comes from the sun. And if we can stop that energy from getting inside, or in our skin, we can resist a sunburn for a longer period of time. It's pretty simple, okay? I don't think we have to go into all the sunscreen stuff for this video, but when you're looking at window films, don't you wish it would be as easy as like the number on a bottle? Like if I was going to choose a dyed film, what would be the SPF value on that? Now, for this video, I'm going to keep things simple and I want to relate things to sunscreen. Even though if we were to take SPF values of window film, they're going to be way higher than what you'll find in typical sunscreen. But let's don't go nerd on that level. Let's just stay in the sunscreen zone so we can all put this in perspective. Dyed films are considered to be the most economy films in our industry, but they're not all economy anymore because some of the dyed films now we have last for a long period of time, longer than anything else that we sell. But let's look at performance, okay? Only performance. A dyed film is the least performing technology that we do sell in our industry, okay? With dyed film, we get very, very marginal protection, okay? We can protect ourselves from visible light so we enjoy the benefits of reducing glare. We can stop UV rays. I don't want to make this a big video about UV, but UVC never makes it to Earth because it doesn't make it to the ozone layer. UVB is one of the more damaging rays that glass can stop. We don't need tint to stop that. It's the A that window film stops. So all window films just about equally stop the UVA ray, almost 100%. So every film on the market today is on the same playing field. But whatever's left over with dyed film, there's just, infrared radiation, there's not much more protection left. So dyed films marginally protect you, and that is it. Okay, the next technology I want to talk about are carbons. Okay, I don't want to leave off high performance films. We can sort of lump high performance films with the dyed films because they are dyed films with one layer of metal in them. But the carbons are a little bit of a different animal that we're seeing emerge in our industry that's very, very common, which has two layers of clear polyester. Usually the carbon's in the laminate layer of adhesive. And the more carbon that we put in the film, the more performance that we're going to get, because carbon does something dye can't do. Carbon can absorb energy from the sun and not let it pass through the glass. That's where dye struggles. Dye only basically stops visible light. Carbon not only stops visible light, but it can soak up more of the solar spectrum, specifically some radiation. If you were going to compare dyed film to sunscreen, okay, let's pretend like it's about a 15. If our window film box is on the shelf and we had to put a number on it and we had to keep the analogy with sunscreen, we put about a 15 on it, okay? It's not much there. We know if you put it on your car, it's going to be mostly cosmetic. It's going to look good. It may even last a long time if it's the right technology. If it's not the right technology, it'll fade and turn colors and things like that, or turn clear. But it's a 15. Carbon, it graduates, okay? Carbon absorbs energy, so if it were on the shelf, we could probably see it to be around a 60 or an 80. And that's why, I'm gonna tell you why I give it a 60 or an 80. Because the more carbon that we put in the film, the more energy we can absorb. So a darker carbon is gonna be closer to an 80. A lighter carbon might be closer to a 60. Now, if we're going up into the really light shades of carbon, we'll probably fall below a 60, of course, because we need carbon to absorb energy, and that's what it does. So carbon compared to dye is just going to give you more protection. It would be like looking on the shelf and seeing a 15 next to a 60 or an 80. And so that's the benefit of carbon. Okay, so now we've talked about protection. I want to clarify something so people are on the same page here. Protection, when I say that word, I am implying solar energy, okay? That is what comes from the sun. It is infrared radiation, it is ultraviolet rays, it's visible light. And if a film can protect you, it can stop that stuff from making it to the other side of the glass. As we discussed, dyed films do the least amount of protection. Carbon films give you substantial more protection because that carbon absorbs that energy and keeps it from going to the other side of the glass much better than dye. I threw in the high performance films. They are dyed films with a layer of metal. The metal in the film actually does a pretty good job of stopping energy as well and keep it from going to the other side of the glass. But since high performance films are on their way out and not on their way up, I haven't made a lot of mention about high performance films. They're an older technology that I don't really promote, okay? So I'm just not gonna talk too much about that. Okay, now it's time to talk about comfort, okay? This is where it gets confusing. You see, everybody thinks that window films, in general, provide you with this mysterious comfort, which they don't, okay? We know the dyed films, high performance films, and carbon films do not provide you with any comfort, and there's a reason for that. There's no technology in that film that can put the brakes on the heat, okay? So what do we need to provide comfort to ourselves or our customers? And that is something relatively simple. We need a layer in the film that is non-conductive, okay? When energy absorbs into a piece of glass with film on it, okay, it will create heat. I can make a video how that happens. It's on a molecular level. Heat will begin to be created when you absorb solar energy. Now, and the glass gets hotter, and then once we have heat, that heat has to go somewhere. So if we can put a non-conductive layer of material in the film to force that heat to have to pass through, we can slow it down. And the reason we can slow it down is because heat is energy. Heat has to travel through something conductive. If we can force it to go through something non-conductive, something that has the conductivity of paper, okay, we can slow it down. What is that layer that I'm referring to? That layer I'm referring to is called ceramic, okay? Let's just keep it simple. Ceramic is little particles of oxide materials that are somehow gonna show up on our film, either from a coating technology or a particle technology. That's another video. And if it's there, okay, then we're gonna introduce comfort to our customer, because films have to have the ability to stop or keep energy from passing through. That's protection. And only certain films can go one step further and give us comfort by slowing heat down that's been created from getting to the other side of the glass. If we can slow heat down, the faster the better, we can give our air conditioner a chance to recuperate and work more efficiently and keep the car cooler. Let's recap. We know that if we provide our customers with dyed films, high performance films, and carbon films, we're only going to give them protection. If you think for 1 minute that you're going to give them any level of comfort, you're lying to yourself. Those films absolutely provide no comfort whatsoever. And in some cases, we won't make this video about that, some of these films can make the car even hotter inside. So if you want to benefit your customer and you want to give them comfort, you have to introduce ceramic to them. And by introducing ceramic to them, what I mean is we can have a film that has dye, carbon, or pigment in it, as long as it has an additional technology with a layer of non-conductive material that is specifically designed to slow the transfer of heat down from going to the other side of the glass. Then, and only then, we can provide the customer comfort.